Welcome to part 4 of the Lowdefy Getting Started tutorial. Here's our app as we left it from the last section. Currently it doesn't do very much. Let's add a little bit more interactivity. First thing we'll do is we'll add a reset action in the on-click event of the reset button. So let's add that. Now if we look over here, if we enter some inputs, we click reset, then our form resets. So how this works is blocks can define events and those get triggered when those events happen. So for example, the button has an on-click event, and then we can define actions, which is an array of actions, and those all get executed sequentially. Next thing we can do is we can make some fields required. So we want a ticket title and a ticket type to be required. So we can just do that by setting required to true. We can do that over here as well. Required true. And if we save that, we can see that now we have a red marker here marking these fields as required. We need to add a validate action to make sure that those required fields are checked. So in the submit button, we'll add an on-click event, and that will call the validate action. The validate action will fail if any of the validations aren't met, and that will stop the whole action chain, and no more actions after that will be executed. That means our data won't be saved in the database. So if we fill in this form but we don't fill in a required field, and we try and submit, we'll get an error message that our action was unsuccessful. The next thing we can do is we can show and hide some blocks. So let's add a new block. We'll add that over here. If we look at this, we're setting a visible condition, and here we're using an operator. An operator is kind of like a function that executes, and that executes as the block is rendering and every time the page state updates. We're using an equals operator, which checks if two things are equal. And we're using a state operator to get the value of ticket type from the state object. The state object is a data object, and all the inputs have their values in the state object. So we're checking if the value of the ticket type block, which is this selector, is equal to bug report. And if that is true, then this block should be visible. So let's see if that worked. We can come here, we select bug report, then our block pops up. We can also add some more validation rules. So let's add a validate rule to this block. And here we have an array of rules. Status is warning, which means it won't block when the validate action is called, it won't give an error. Here's the message we want to do. And then we also want to just check that the confirm restart button is equal to yes. So if we go here, we select bug report, and if we don't select yes there, then our warning message pops up. However, if we do fill in all the required fields, then this action completes successfully. If we change the status here to error, then when we do fill in these fields, but we don't fill in this one, it does block the validation.